Okay, so welcome to this new episode of Voncam, where we're going to talk about this new film from Harman, new at the time of release of this video. So it's pretty yellow when it comes out, when it's not exposed. There's no anti-halation layer behind, so there might be light leaks, so don't expose it in plain sun when you load the film. But here, the typical box of a Harman Red 35mm 135 format film that once developed becomes kind of blue. It's a negative, so it's going to be kind of red. We're going to see the results, but that's what it looks like once developed. C41, and yeah, let's go check the pictures. The two first pictures, that's a Leica CL camera that's broken, that has no rangefinder functionality and no exposure meter. So I put it, I installed it with a Chroma Double Glass 24mm f11, so fixed focal and fixed aperture. And here's what it does with this film. So the first shot of the film on the left, as you can see, lots of halos because it hasn't got this anti-halation layer behind, and in high contrast it's going to kind of do those interesting effects, in my opinion. Big part of its character. But it's going to be really red, as its name indicates. As you can see on the right, that's in Manchester. Really sunny days, no clouds, blue skies, lots of light. If you have a lot of sunlight, lots of reds. Obviously not really visible, but lots of exposure. And you can expose your film well. It's going to become quite red. You can see the green light here. It's kind of green, but yeah, lots of red. You need to be aware of this. It's actually the name of the film, but really great results, in my opinion, and for my taste. As you can see here, again, detailed in Manchester, with this kind of street photography setup. Works great. Again, I had a lot of light, f11, and yeah, as you can see in the lower exposed zones, it's going to be kind of green or blue. It also depends on the way, if you post-process digitally, you'll have a lot more of latitude to try to manage the curves and what you captured. Here again, if you have a lot of light, you're going to have something close to black and white, but maybe some more depths. And that's where I think this film really shows its muscle. But let's continue. I'm going from red to less red on that roll. As you can see here, as soon as you have some sunlight, direct sunlight, it tends to go, and you expose your film, it's going to tend to go in the reds. But then it's going to be, if you expose slightly less, it's going to go in the yellows, the oranges. In my experience, as you saw before, it tends to go in oranges if you super expose, but hard to manage still for me yet. Changing camera, here it's with a Rollei XF35 AF. Low lights, warm light environment as on the left. The very high contrasts are going to really pop up with the halos around the light sources, because again, with this absence of anti-halation layer. But when you have more subtle lights and less exposure on the film, as on the right, that's in Geneva, the Geneva HUD with the sunset. You will get something a little bit different with those blues coming out. You don't see any greens here, but we're going to have some more examples a bit later. Here, those more cloudy days, less direct sunlight, exposed a little bit less. On the left, that's Romain Moutier. It's this famous church complex in Switzerland. Or on the right, that's again Geneva. As you can see, less red, more oranges, and more subtle tones, and some hints maybe of green and blue in the low lights. Hard to know what's natural or really comes from the emulsion itself. And here are two examples which I thought were interesting. If you really decrease the red input, so that's kind of accidental. On those two photos. On the left, that was a really cloudy day. It's the end of the day, so there's not much sunlight left. You will get some greens, you will get some reds, you will get some blues. So you really need to count on having less reds if you want something more realistic. That might be interesting for those who want to try to take pictures with filters. Or on the right, the lines, they're linked to me rolling the film weirdly, so that's not the emulsion itself. The quality was great, but it gives a good indication here of what the greens can be and the blues and the natural, in quotes, colors coming out of this film if you have less of this red color entering. For those interested, also Harman publishes the spectrums, the sensibility spectrums. Kind of interesting. You'll see that it's really sensitive to red, as its name indicates. But yeah, really great experimental film. As you can see here, you will have really a load of colors on that emulsion. And if you do, like most of what I do, digital processing after, you'll have some really interesting stuff to work with. And you will have those really bright blues, sometimes strong reds, oranges. As you can see here, that's in Iceland. I find it real interesting. For my work, experimental work, the grain also is really very artsy, in my opinion, very special. Let's go to an Olympus LT-1. That's a point and shoot. That's in London on the right, Copenhagen on the left. With flash, so artificial lighting, which tends to be quite warm, you will get this orangey red look like you have on those oysters. So there's definitely something to do probably with lighting stuff and using that film. I will devote an episode on doing so with filters and specialized lights, but for now that's what you get with kind of normal equipment. Or on the right, that's the shard in London. That was a sunset, lots of light, weirdly, but it was kind of a strong sunset. So you get those orange, red, strong reds in your image. But you do see some green, you do see some other tones. Or here, less light, and then you get more details of the other spectrum captures. And as you can see with the bottle on the left and this trash can, that's in London. Or simply less red and more blues coming out, as in this picture on the right in the city of London, sure, always. Here on the left, a rainy day in Paris. You will get those sort of orange, reddish, and blue-greenish tones if you don't overexpose. Or as you can see on the right, that's the city in London again, kind of underexposed. The grain will really pop through. But it does something very special. It's got really its own character. Here's a picture of the shard on the left that was just to show that's basically at the same time as the one I took before, which was very orangey and poppy, but I'm not looking as much to the sun. Less exposure, less of that reds from the sun, and your image is going to be definitely more on the purplish, reddish, bluish tones. We do see some hints of green in the windows. So it's a really hard to manage. At least for me, it was really hard to manage the results, but I like it. Again, the Thames River on the right with less light. As you can see, it goes into pinks, the reds. It's a little bit more balanced and more like a bichromic film, not like black and white. It's got this extra pop. Here again, the Thames River with sunlight is behind, so you do get more blue, more balance, if I can talk about balance. And as much as you diminish the red input from the sun or from whatever other source, you will get more greens, more blues, and get those really kind of old school, old style chemistry looking photos, but still not looking like stuff we've already seen. Super interesting because it's a new emulsion too, so it's kind of reproducible. I'm still not good at it, but you start getting the feel after a while. And here, Copenhagen, really less sun here. We do see more green, more blue. And I think there's really a place for photographs with filters on front of your lens. Here, Leica C2 Zooms. That's the last camera and last roll we're going to see today. That's an interesting camera. Not very known. I don't think it's really worth being known except if you find one for cheap. It's got a great optical system. It's a zoom system, so it's not very bright, it's not very wide angle, kind of slow, it's noisy, it's big. Anyhow, the results I kind of find interesting. I'm kind of testing it for a video because I had it. And that's in Manchester. You do get, when you have those exposures, those pinkish looking pictures with, again, blue and greens grains in the low lights or in the rights, like when you're in this neon inner space in an inner mall in Manchester, you will get a lot of green. There's obviously less red in this situation, and then you get that part of the film. But here I'm showing again another example, and here's it's interesting with the zoom lens. At the same time, basically, that's in Iceland, wide open on the left, so I had enough light, even though it was a sunset. And I think that's what made the difference, because I zoom in and it's not a linear aperture lens, so I guess I get less light in on the right, and you see that you kind of lose the oranges, the reds, so it's really not a linear responding film, and it's super interesting in my opinion, but you need to master it, and I'm not there myself, but it's fun. Here again, that's the Mount Essia. I think it can be really interesting for sceneries. I haven't tried yet making black and white from a film like this to converting after, but I think it could reveal some really interesting stuff, because you do have more data than just black and white, and in a very, very weird way, which could get interesting. And the grain is really nice, in my opinion. Here again, 2 details. As you can see on the left, the greens are there. You see some patches of grass. The blue, the red, the yellow. Very interesting emulsion. On the right, that's a view of Reykjavik, kind of the periphery of Reykjavik from Mount Essia. You see those storms in the background, and I think it's a film that really does a very interesting job of depicting reality. Again here, more greens. I just wanted to have some examples where you have more of the greens. Not massive, but in certain situations that I think you should try to exploit, you will get some interesting greens. And here happened, I got some better greens in Manchester for some of those street photographs. And yeah, I liked the grain. I liked the way it works. I still have a little bit of difficulties to really master it, but hopefully that these were good examples to give you an idea of what to expect. So let's go to the plus and minuses. The plus, obviously, a new 35mm 135 film. That's a real plus. Thanks to Harman for offering us such a treat for those of us who do experimental photography and like film. It's color. It's kind of, yeah, it's still is color with the C41 standard development process, which is great. It's got that unique color response. So yeah, what to say? It's got a characteristic grain that's very interesting. It's an interesting grain. If you like grain, I think they have a good experience in making something really interesting. And finally, it's really a plus. It's fun to use. It feels like a complicated old card to drive. It's weird, but it's fun. While the mess stuff the price is okay. It is film. It's film like any other film. It is made with care and love in Manchester. I could have put it in plus, but it definitely is made. I think it should be a plus, but it's anyways, I was lucky to be able to visit the factory, and great team, great products, and it's reliable. It's a fresh film, experimental film, with very specific characteristics. So yeah, it's not a plus, but it's what you expect from something modern. And in the negatives, there are some negatives, very relative. Sometimes it's a little bit closer to black and white photography. Hard to control variability in the response, as you could see before. Hard to predict where is it going to go, depending on how you expose. I didn't use much of a really good camera to expose and capture my shots, and I will definitely try working with filters. The lack of anti-halation layer when loading can be sometimes problematic, and it's kind of red. It's a negative, but it's maybe a little bit too much. But maybe that could be the plus. So it's hard to put things in plus and minus. I think overall it's a really great film. So it's just maybe more of negatives to beware of that when you use it. Anyways, hopefully that gave you some interest in using that film. I highly recommend it. Or simply taking pictures with film. It's great. And yeah, don't hesitate. Comments, suggestions, questions, as usual. And catch you next time.